Hello, welcome to another lab. This lab deployed an Azure Kubernetes Service AKS cluster. I'm an Azure administrator as well as an Azure Solutions architect. In this lab, we will deploy a Kubernetes AKS cluster that can authenticate to an Azure Container Registry, install the Kubernetes CLI or kubectl, and configure kubectl to connect to your AKS cluster. Hey, welcome to another lab by me, the Azure guy. Today's lab is a continuation of our 7-part series with Azure Kubernetes Service. Today's lab is called Deploy an Azure Kubernetes Service Cluster. Kubernetes provides a distributed platform for containerized applications. With AKS, you can quickly create a production-ready Kubernetes cluster. In this tutorial, part 3 of 7, a Kubernetes cluster is deployed. Now, a little note before we begin. In previous labs, a container image was created and uploaded to an Azure Container Registry instance. If you haven't done these steps and like to follow along here, please refer to part 1 of the series, Create Container Images. You create an AKS cluster using the AKS create command. The following command here will create a AKS cluster called speed 005 AKS cluster into a resource group called AKS R. The resource group was created in a previous lab. Lab 1 to be specific. To allow an AKS cluster to interact with other Azure resources, an Active Directory Service Principal is going to be automatically created. Here, the Service Principal is going to be granted the right to pull images from the Azure Container Registry instance we created in a previous lab, which was lab number 2. Okay, after saying all that, which took a total of 2 minutes and 54 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and jump into action here and run this command. And again, it's going to create our AKS cluster for us. Okay, it looks like our cluster was successful in being created. Let's go ahead and take a look what it looks like in the portal. Okay, notice we have a new resource now. This is the container registry we made in lab number 2, and this is the Kubernetes cluster we just created. Click on that. Notice nothing really. Overview is what it normally tells you in Azure, the resource group. We get the version number. We get our API server address. Running a basic. And we got one node pool. If you come down to the node pools, it gets a little more interesting. See, we got the version again, OS type. We got a node count of 2. If you click on that, it gives us the ability to scale more. 53. I wonder what that would cost. Maximum node count you can select is 2 to the remaining quota and select subscription. Yeah, well, that's all right. And you also can do auto scale. And we'll do scaling in, I believe this is lab 3 and lab 5, I believe. We'll do it via command line. And notice you can upgrade your version of Kubernetes. I think it said earlier we're on version, is it 1.16? It might show us here. Gotta like the portal. Let's try coming back and going back there now. There we go. Yep, 1.16.10. And we could upgrade to 1.17.7 if you wanted to. All right, pretty good stuff there. Let's go ahead and connect to the cluster using Kubectl. Let me go ahead and do a clear. And we'll run. Looks like I might have a typo here. Let's just AKS-RG. Is that what we called it? REG. Let's try that again. All right, that's looking pretty good there. And then let's run this command to actually verify the connection. Get nodes. And notice, look at that, it's pretty good. When we looked in the portal before, it mentioned we had 2 nodes, and we have the 2 nodes here. And it said in the portal we're running version 1.6.110, and that's what we're running here. And it looks like they've been up for 5 minutes and 52 seconds. Well, I got some sad news. This ends this lab, but good news is I've got many other labs loaded, so you could review one of those, or a part 4 will be uploaded soon. So in review, in this lab, a Kubernetes cluster was deployed in AKS, and you configure your Kubectl connect to it. So what did you learn? Well, you deployed a Kubernetes AKS cluster that can authenticate to an Azure container registry, install Kubernetes CLI, so Kubectl, and we configure Kubectl to connect to a AKS cluster. In the next lab, we'll deploy an application to the cluster, the voting app. See you guys then.